All right, let's take a quick look at this QIDI A570 VTOL, and then we'll take it out the field and put it through its paces. All right, so you have two color options. It comes in red or it comes in orange and blue. I have the red one. This was sent to me courtesy of Banggood. I want to thank them much for sending this for review. It's made out of EPP foam, which makes it very durable. The wingspan is 315 millimeters, the length is 355 millimeters, and the height is 75 millimeters. My plane weighed 131 grams without the LiPo in it. The LiPo weighs 45 grams. It gives me an all-up weight of 175 grams. I think in the specs they stated 180 grams, so pretty darn accurate on the all-up weight on this VTOL. Comes with three 15 series brushless motors. They look like 1504s, but that's just a guess. I have no idea what the KV is, but they are spinning Gemfan 3052 3-blade props. Those are very good props, and I have a lot of those in my inventory. They come with two 2-gram plastic digital servos and two 2-gram metal digital servos. So I'm glad that they actually have digital servos on here rather than analog. And I would guess that the metal gear servos are the ones that are actually tilting the motors. That would be my guess. The flight controller has a 6-axis gyroscope. It has 2 ports supporting SBACH or DSM. The DSM port provides 3.3 volts and the SBACH provides 5 volts. Comes with a 2S 1000 milliamp hour LiPo, and the dimensions on that are 53 millimeters by 30 millimeters by 14 millimeters. The flight modes are multi-rotor mode, so it has 3 brushless motors, so it would be a tricopter. And so multi-rotor mode would be when it's flat, the way you see it sitting on the table. You could fly it around like a tricopter, like a quadcopter. And then you have airplane mode where the motors will tilt forward like tractor motors on a plane and pull it through the air like a plane. And then the third mode is like a rocket, is what I refer to it as, because that's when it's sitting on its tail. You can take off like a rocket, you can hover it and fly it around with the nose pointed completely up, and then land it like a rocket too, like a SpaceX rocket. So you can fly it in that mode as well. It says the flight time is between 5 to 14 minutes. That depends on what mode you're flying in the vast majority of the time, because if you're flying it around in rocket mode or you're flying it around in multi-rotor mode, it's going to burn through the battery a lot faster than if you're pulling it through the air like an airplane, where it's getting most of its lift from the airframe rather than the motors. All right, the transmitter requires 4 AA batteries. The 4 AA batteries are not included. You have to provide those. The package includes a fully assembled QIDI A570 VTOL RC aircraft, 1 remote control, 1 USB charger, 1 manual, 1 screwdriver, and 2 spare props. And here is the battery bay. As you can see, the ESC has an XT30 connector on it. So if you're going to source additional LiPos, make sure that you get one that has an XT30 connector on it, or you get an adapter for it to go to XT30. All right, and then on the bottom of it, by the third motor on the tail, there is a plastic panel that you can remove by removing that one screw. It gives you access to the flight controller. And then if you look here on the left, according to the diagram, the port here on the left, as you're looking at it right now, is the DSM port, and the other port is the SBACH port. It looks to me like they both take the same size plug. Typically, one of them is larger than the other, but these look to be identical ports, 3-pin ports. Okay, so make sure you don't attach your 3.3 volt receiver to the wrong port; might burn it up. And here's the transmitter. Okay, the transmitter over here on the left-hand side, next to this 2-position switch, it says large or small rudder adjustment or rudder amount. Okay, so that's your low and your high rate. With the switch in the upper position like that, I think that is the default position in the low rate. If you pull it down, it's in high rate. You'll get 2 beeps for high rate, a single beep for low rate. And then on the right-hand side, it says vertical mode, 6G mode, 3D mode. Those are really ambiguous, I think, is confusing as to what mode it's in. It's a 3-position switch. So in the position that it's in right now, fully up, I think that is in the tricopter mode, the multi-rotor mode, where it flies around like a multi-rotor, flat, the way it sets on the table. The center position, I think, is airplane mode, where the motors rotate forward and it pulls it through the air horizontally like an airplane. And then the third mode, I think, is like the SpaceX rocket mode, where the motors are tilted up, but then that motor in the back makes sure that the tail is always pointing straight down. So the nose is pointing straight up, the tail is pointing straight down. You can move it back and forth, side to side, and you can rotate it just like you would normally would. So, all right, and then you have these function buttons, one on the top left, one on the top right. The one on the top left operates the LED lights, changes the color of the lights. If you long press it, it will turn those lights off. The mode button over here, reading the manual the way I think it works, because I haven't had the opportunity to fly it in different modes yet. The way I think it works is you will move your selector switch, your 3-position switch, to the mode that you want. It will not automatically switch into that mode. So once you've selected what mode you want to be in, then you will press that top right-hand button, and that will initiate it switching into the mode that you've selected. So it's a 2-part process. And I like that because it gives you a chance to move it into the mode that you want while you've got control of the plane. You can while you've got your control of your stick here for your aileron, the elevator, you can reach up with a separate finger and push that button. It makes it a little bit easier than try to move that 3-position switch when all you have to do while you're maintaining control of the aircraft is push that button. So I do like that 2-part process of switching that into different modes. And then you have your trim buttons for your roll, your pitch, and your yaw over here. And then if you depress both of these buttons together at the same time, it's a kill switch. So it shuts down the motors. I did test that. It works. So I hovered at about 3 or 4 inches off the ground, pushed both buttons at the same time, and it immediately killed the motors. All right, so make sure you don't accidentally do that while you're flying around. You might damage your aircraft. But if you get in trouble, you need to kill it, those 2 buttons depressed at the same time will do that. All right, we're back to the beginning. I will meet you out at the field. We will put this up into all 3 modes and see what we can do with it. I'll see you out there. So let's bring it out here and take off. The first takeoff with it. All right, and I'm going to pull the sticks down and out. All right, and then give it over 50% throttle. Okay, so right now we are in quadcopter mode, and I am in low rate, and I have full forward right now. So that's a good rate if you want to fly indoors. It's very, very docile. Full forward. Full forward, that's full left stick. I'm giving it some yaw to bring it around. Full forward. Full right aileron, giving it some yaw. All right, very, very docile. Okay, so now let's put it into high rate. All right, let's see what we got there. Oh, much, much better. Much, much better. That's full forward. Full forward, full left stick, giving it some yaw to get a coordinated turn out of it. And that's in high rate, in quadcopter mode. Okay, full forward, full right. It maintains its altitude really, really well. Really, really well. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to put my selector into airplane mode, and I don't think it's going to do anything until I hit the button. Okay, so now I've got it in airplane mode. Now let's bring it through here and then see if it will transition into airplane mode. Okay, I'm going to push the button. Alright, and now we're in airplane mode. Now, once I push the button, it seemed to take about 3 or 4 seconds
for it to switch into airplane mode. That's pretty speedy. That's pretty speedy in airplane mode. Okay, I'm pulling back on the throttle here. That is pretty cool. Whoa, you don't want to give it full stick to the right or to the left. Okay, you want to keep it a little bit flatter. Is that cool or is that cool? Okay, so let's see here. That is pretty neat. So it transitioned fairly well, but it did take 3 or 4 seconds after I pushed the button before it's transitioned into airplane mode. So that is the way that you transition into airplane mode, okay? Put your selector in the mode you want, and then you push the button that's on the top right hand shoulder of the transmitter. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to put my selector back in. Ooh! Well, it did it on its own that time, guys. Okay, so it just switched from airplane mode, I'm going to bring it down, airplane mode to quadcopter mode or multi-rotor mode, since it's only got 3 motors and not a quad. But it did that automatically. Now it didn't switch into airplane mode until, oh, and I'm already got a low battery on it. It's flashing red. Okay, so let's bring it in and set it down. I don't know how long I've had it in the air. There we go. Okay, and then just hold the stick down, the throttle stick all the way down for about 2 or 3 seconds and it will shut down. Or if you need to, you can press both of the buttons on top of the transmitter at the same time and that will cut the motors instantly. That's a wrap on this episode. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time in the Tinker's Lab.